Here in Kisumu, we are covering everything you need to know from this side, but there are several other places we'll be in. That's Kisii, Migori, Homa Bay, and all these areas are considered a NASA stronghold. But just slightly beneath the presidential race, there are several places we expect to have fireworks. One of those places is Kisii senatorial race, and joining me in studio now is one of the candidates, Omingo Magara, who's also a former South Mugirango member of parliament. Let's get a feel of how it looks like the last day of campaign and what he expects to come out from that. Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you, Trevor.
Let's get straight into it. In 2013, you said the results were flawed in favor of the one who won, that's Chris Obure. And right now, do you have confidence in the IBC to conduct a credible poll this time?
Let me confirm that crazy things were done indeed, and you can't believe what some of us saw immediately after the so-called systems failed. I don't believe that was manipulation of results, and of course it was managed by deliberate, omission by the then managers of the electoral process. I do not want to say for certain that all is well, but from the process that we've gone through IBC, I can certainly give a confidence level about 60%, to the extent, therefore, that the systems will not fail. Yeah. In fact, when we started failing in 2013 is immediately after the system collapsed. That's when the hell broke loose and people got their figures manipulated, and people even moved away from the Excel sheet and prepared the result in a Word document which you cannot auto-check, and that's how some of us lost. But today I believe that much has been done, and we want to imagine that IEBC will only give us credible elections, and we can accept credible elections if we do not manipulate the process by deliberately shutting down the system.
Let me understand this, because many people say that we'll accept it if it's fair and free. Who gets to decide if the poll is fair and free?
It is the way we conduct ourselves. During the process, from the start of the polls to the conclusion of the polls, in fact, the system as it is today, you can know who voted, which system, what time, and per hour you can tell how many people voted. And this issue of people stuffing ballots, I mean, if it works, it will be a thing of the past, because at the close of the business, you know who voted last and what the last voter. The challenge will be if the system collapses and people can do all manner of things, because there will be no controls. As it stands today, the system that we have taken through by the county returning officer, it shows like there's a bit of credibility. The challenge is we are being told about how people are disappearing from the scene. We don't know the manipulation or the process that people want to introduce in the system. And I believe if the systems work, this process could be fairly trusted. Yeah. I can confirm.
You are going against Professor Sam Ongeri and Charles Nechai, who are also vying for the same seat. What makes you think you're better than them? Let
me say this in a sentence. The description of the role of a senator is that of oversight function. None of my competitors fits the description of that role, because I've proven, I've done it as a chairman of Public Accounts Committee, and we really moved and turned mountains in Kenya, at the Kenya National Assembly when I was the chairman of Public Accounts Committee. It is then when we brought out issues of Anglo-leasing and heads rolled. For the first time in the history of this country, ministers were fired from office. And if we did that at national office, overseeing budget of the county is like chicken feed. I'll feed that script properly, and that's why most of my competitors don't speak about what the role of a senator is, because if they spoke about the role of a senator, they'll be talking about Omingo Magara. And therefore, that's why I'm confident, truly, that things will work. And we have tried to puncture this business of euphoria, of going through the euphoria of a particular six-piece suit. In Kisii, it's going to be a thing of the past.
Speaking of which, the six-piece suit that you're talking about, that area is considered a NASA stronghold, and you've been clear that you don't support any of the presidential candidates. How is that going to work out?
People's Democratic Party that I'm a leader of does not have a presidential candidate, and we have left our candidates to choose the candidate of their own choice. Basically, what we are saying here is it's also against all the provision of the law that you want to jump into a ship when you're not welcome, because it can also be an election offense. If I start supporting any faction which I don't have an agreement with, I'm risking myself out of office. So I believe it is not about euphoria. Our people in Kisii use their brains to vote, fortunately, and that's why I feel I can provide a third force and a glue to bring these guys together.
Did you try to get any agreement with any of the coalition?
Well, my experience in 2013 failed because I did join CORD that time. And immediately I joined it, they said, business as usual, 6-piece suit, Magara excluded. Once bitten, twice shy. I stood alone, and I still feel strongly that we're capturing this. To confirm that 6-piece suit is not an issue in KC, today the youths were demonstrating and saying, we will vote our concerns, not the euphoria, where people have been here over time can not do things differently, but they just want to conveniently lean on a particular line, euphoria, to be swept to power. That has been punctured, and I can assure you we are moving up all the way.
You're vehemently against the 6-piece voting system that you're saying is not going to happen in Kisii. You've been a member of parliament before. There's been the question of the independents who come in, they will sort of disrupt the system. So you would not even know where the allegiance falls. How will that be handled in the
as the chair of a Center for Mature Democracy, I believe that we're killing the party system if we don't work within the political parties. If we are talking about independent candidates within or parties that are standing alone, there's a bit of discipline and structure. The challenge we have in the independent candidates, they're going to subscribe to nobody. That's why they're going to be loose cannons. They can shoot aimlessly and hit Trevor, who is extremely innocent. But so the independent candidates are killing multipartyism. And the reason why I don't subscribe to a 6-piece suit, when I was a chairman of Public Accounts Committee, I was effective when I was in Fort people, and I was overseeing Kanu and then NAC that time. Today, corruption has been devolved courtesy of a 6-piece suit. You cannot do anything, cover my back, I cover yours, as we eat. Yeah. The stew that's been cooked for yourselves.
And that is actually the main question. How are you going to ensure that that doesn't happen in Kisii?
In Kisii, the message has passed that people must, if you want to oversee somebody, if you be in a bedroom or matrimonial bed with a wife, you can't oversee your wife. That's a challenge. That's why we're saying, for purpose of governance, you can't be a director of a company, a shareholder, and an auditor and expect to make profit. That's what we're saying. If you want to check the governor, for example, what a senator is supposed to do, you must do it from a different standpoint. Otherwise, corruption has been devolved, and people will be eating from the same plate without checking each other.
Yeah, and you've been on the ground a lot, and today was the final day. I'd like you to describe to us how it was then, and then also, do you feel that the people are having their issues addressed? Is that what they're saying down there? Because even as we speak, there's a nurses' strike. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody just wants to get into office.
Let me say, for the first time in the history of this country, we've had a fairly peaceful pre-election period. And today, as we're drawing down the curtains, the mood was sober, and our people are ready to vote. And what we also against is the fact that Kisii is being mapped as a hotspot. Maybe somebody is trying to micromanage that to cause fear and anxiety, so that excess force can be displayed to cause fear on the voters. Okay. We are saying Kisii is not a hotspot. Right. We are a peace-loving section of the country, and we want that freedom to fly. But finally said, it is important to note that the campaign has been peaceful, and we want that peace to prevail. The other thing that we must stress is the fact that if you want to have peace, we must do things by the law and in a clean way without causing suspicion. And some of us politicians must stand up to say it's peace during the day and peace at night.
That's a good place to leave it. Thanks for making time for us. Omingo Magara, former South Migrango Member of Parliament, is also running for Kisii senatorial seat.